you know, that I was just looking at this thing called the trend line of the Great Depression, or the pattern of the Great Depression, or whatever, measuring some securities that's associated with that 10-year period, 5-year period, or 10-year period, whatever it was. So let me turn this down. If it's true, then one of the possibilities for Dane Calloway saying that people like Harriet Tubman never existed, I think is what he said, and the slave trade didn't occur and stuff like that, would have to do with, I gotta just pause this CIA person, specialist, would be that the histories were timelines, because there's numerous timelines were crossed. Someone crossed them. Something crossed them. Some entity crossed them. Someone crossed them. That's the only explanation I can I can rationalize. Because it is true that if one recollection of the past happened, both of them cannot be true or cannot occur, or whatever the case may be. It can't be both. Some people have memories of us being here and never leaving this continent, and being dragged around the goddamn continent, around the motherfucker, and enslaved all over the fucking place, all around it. And then, of course, we ended up at the Trail of Tears, went the whole thing. And you could do that with I'm sure you could do that with a gateway. I'm sure you could do that with a Stargate. I'm sure you could do that with a Stargate. And there's Stargates all over the West Coast, natural Stargates. And there's Stargates on the other side of the, what'd you call that thing? The something desert. Mojave Desert, whatever. There's Stargates in Peru and South America. I'm sure there's possibly Stargates in Central America around those pyramids, whatever. I don't know. They're pyramids, so it doesn't matter if they're Stargates. They're the pyramids there. So somebody was doing that, and and the timelines were crossed somehow. I mean, in my DNA and mine, it is naturally like that, and it's something you can't fix. And it might have been rigged, I don't know, whatever. It might have been rigged like that for a certain purpose, whatever. In my DNA, the shit was set like that for, I don't know why. But, almost like, what's that thing called? Damn, if I can remember the name of that disease. Almost like, that disease where your body literally starts growing wires of different colors, vein, membranes, wires that are made of metal. Red wires, blue wires. What is the name of that disease? I'm gonna have to look it up and like put it in the description of the video. I want to say Lou Gehrig's disease, some shit. Some shit is named after a person, and your body literally grows wires as like veins, and it's extremely painful, and it's all discombobulated and twisted and stuff like that. And some people it doesn't grow as wires. Some people it grows as membranes, stuff like whatever you call it. Some people is clearly worms. Clearly, what do you call those? Tapeworms. Is that what you call it? Tapeworms? Clearly, it can manifest different for different people. But anyway, back to the subject. That's the only explanation that makes sense to me. That like I just told you, what I just said. Now I have several different memories. I have a memory of the Jesus taking us across the ocean to save our souls. We were slaves, black. We were slaves, whatever. And I think I was either part of the ship. I was actually the wood that made. I was the actual ship, or I was one of the inhabitants of the ship. I think it was both. And it was a ship, legendary ship. Some people like to call it I'm not gonna say that, but the ship called Jesus. Okay, and it was some. I'm gonna tell you what I feel it was. Some giant whose mission was to save the souls. A Viking, and my assumption it would be like a giant, like, right, and that person was the actual ship. That person was the actual ship. Almost like the stories of I think it's, I want to say, I know it's not Odin because he's not. It's the other one. That ships Loki gave Odin a piece of technology, a little like cube or something, a little ball or something, and it transformed into different objects. And he transformed it into a ship, and it was made out of metal or whatever. It was like a silver metallic, something like a archangel technology, tetragrammaton type of technology or whatever, and Loki gave it to him or whatever to fight some sort of war with these minions, with these little the people that was causing havoc in the world, or whatever that story is, whatever the fuck was. Loki was setting his ass up though. Can't trust him. So now, almost like that, right? That's one. Yeah, that's about it. And the ship and so that's two different. But there's a certain where both of them can't occur. It can't be both in certain timelines, or certain whatever you would want to call this. Made a mistake, excuse me. In certain trends, I guess you would call it, since she's using the word trend. Historical, whatever you want to call it. Both cannot occur. It can't be, both can't be, stories cannot happen. Right? In certain, only one. Not in certain, both of them can happen. Right? This is why I'm saying that it must be the crossing of the timelines. And here's my wedding ring. There it is right there. That's what I call it. Never leaves me. Yeah, that's the only explanation for that Dane Calloway mess. Talking about the 1619, because you notice that they always change the number anyway. The time, the year, the location, the guilty the guilty person. I don't know how to explain that, but that's the only explanation for this guy coming and talking about how, and he got proof now, not evidence, but proof. He went down to whatever state that, I think Virginia, and he was looking for this damn house, and the fucking house wasn't there. Like, the house was, I gotta go back and go find this video. Listen, you know what I'm saying? And I'll give you I'll say another story. I remember in my memory bank, in my, whatever you would call it, Akashic memory bank, whatever, being the watcher maybe, or the person, the ghost of a person or the shadow of a man who have been doing the same research that Dan Calloway is doing 100 years ago, 70, 100, 70, 100 years ago-ish, 150, 200 years ago, whatever. 100 years ago. And, they captured my ass and they they lynched me. So that's why they say that the people, that's the reason why, who was it that said that? I think it was Bro Sanchez. He said that the people that they were lynching were the kings and setting their bodies on fire. They were assassinations, because if they were all kings, and of course there were women too that was lynched as well, so we can make our assumptions there. But if they were kings, if they were a specific class, right, in a feudal system, in a monarchical system or whatever, then that means that they were basically assassinations, conspiracies. We know that they were conspiracies. We know that they weren't random like that. That's kind of beside the point, them being conspiracies, but assassinations. Or, conspiracies. Now, if you want to use the concept of conspiracy when it comes to these lynchings, because we knew that they were conspiracies, then you're going off on the tangent of consistently sabotaging the black economy or the economy of a particular community, the economy of a particular Negro black community, one at a time, in different cities, different towns, I'll say, different regions, or whatever, however it worked, right? But that's the only explanation I can rationalize for Dan Calloway. Did I say everything I wanted to say? Yeah, I did that. I found the house and they burnt it. They burnt me in it. And I remember another story. I was a Protestant. I was some sort of minister. I was a woman. I was some sort of minister or some sort of missionary, perhaps. And they found me. The white woman trapped me. I was the enemy of she just over in 2 seconds. She turned me into the crusader, that's what you do to the crusader. They don't like crusaders. Into the enemy of everyone. She trapped me in the motherfucking church. Excuse my language, but it is what it is. She trapped me in the damn church and set the church on fire. And I died in the church. There. Don't look for it. Yeah, look for it. Anyway, that's why I be telling these niggas, get the fuck away from us and go fuck these white women. Don't play this game with us. And give them our asses too. I'm not playing. We know why you be going over there. We don't have the breasts. They got the titties. So if it's the ass, you want the ass, and then you get the fuck out of here. We're going to teach your ass a lesson if it's the last thing we do. Now, anyway, back to my thing. So, back to the story of the house that he went searching for, that they said something about this house and all that stuff. And he showed proof of what I'm saying, of his claim that I would accept. Nobody else don't have to accept that particular one. But that one right there, I will accept that one. I know that he's wrong. His hypothesis, he knows his hypothesis is wrong. But he believes his hypothesis. And that's what gives him the fire to keep going. He knows his hypothesis is wrong. He's not stupid. That's why he has a wife. But let's just put something in here. The timelines. There is more than one occurrence of history. That's the reason why everybody can't even agree on how the universe was created. So the white says that it was the Big Bang. Then the Nomos say it was the egg that came out the egg, and the egg opened, and this happened, and the Nomo, everybody has a different kind of like kind of like got a different creation story. But guess what? It's the Big Bang, and the Big Bang is the conception, right? Conception of a fertilized egg. I was just looking at it yesterday on Sanchez. He said that scientists have found that the brightest light, the most powerful light in all the universe, is when the sperm gets into the egg and the electrical spark starts life inside the egg. That's the Big Bang. That's pretty much that's the Big Bang, because it's happening in a finite space. And when they tell you about the size of the universe and the universe is expanding, they're talking about that egg, that same egg, right? And the light and dark matter, dark energy. The light energy, the dark energy versus the dark matter, right? Versus the regular light matter, whatever. The light matter, the consciousness, I would say, the light matter is still growing. I mean, it's 13 billion years. Do you see that? Look at that. We got 13 zodiac signs that came in like less than 10 years ago. The Ophiuchus became the 13th zodiac sign, like 7 years ago, whatever. And the universe is 13 billion years old. How fascinating. Wow. Ooh. What's going to happen next? Let me tell you. We done already damaged this daggone universe because the shit looks ugly when they show us pictures of the universe expanding in this with a shape. I don't know how to explain what I'm trying to say, but it looks ugly. So we done destroyed it. So I don't know how we're going to address that, but we gotta stop fight. We gotta stop the shit, man. Stop the shit. You conspirers, man. That's why they be saying things are fake. Let the fake thing be fake. It's replacing something that was real and no longer exists. Let it be fake. Stop criticizing it. Remember with black culture, we used to criticize fake. That was the Great Depression, and we know that Jekyll Island sabotaged the world. We know that. So let it go. It's Jekyll Island. And Ellis Island also sabotaged the world. Somebody with their dirty hair, with their dirty skin. Okay? Somebody was an accident, and then other people, these men, you know how these men are. But, and these people, but whatever. Yeah, these islands all around the world were used to sabotage the whole world. That's why they used to teach the white people that the earth was flat. Come to the edge and see what happens to your ass. See what happens. That flood. All of this stuff is real. Okay? Everything. So, going back to the Dan Calloway thing. That's the only explanation that I can rationale that I can accept, that it's a cross of the timelines. Oh, the humans didn't start in the Africa, continent of Africa. It started in, that other shit. I don't know what that other one is. It doesn't even make any damn sense. Because once again, you would have to say that the shit would have came from freaking Australia or Antarctica, and they traveled and they crossed over to the tip of South America, because everybody says that the original people came from the southern hemisphere. What we are attribute to the southern hemisphere today. So that would still mean that it still came from before that. And it really don't matter, because those ancient continents have sunk. Mu sank. It was a continent. And this shit's, I was there. Okay? This is why I don't like water, but I be trying to psych myself into killing the fear of water. I was there. So, that's all I have to say. And it don't really matter what continent the people started from, because it was all one continent at one point. So how would you be able to tell where the first people came from? Some of them it's just like the out of Africa theory. Some of them decided to stay before the shits drifted, and some of them decided to migrate before they drifted. So what difference does it make? And clearly it's Africa. Clearly, and first of all, second of all, the ones that came before the Africans, they disappeared, or they left and went to another planet, because they knew that the Anunnaki was coming to enslave the inhabitants of Earth, and they said, "Let's get the out of here." Come on, use common sense. We don't want them to even know we was here. Let's think about this now. That's what you would have did. Because you damn sure wouldn't want to be those EGGs. Because nobody wants to be us. Nobody wants to be the niggas, the slaves, the American, the niggas. Nobody wanted to be the Dalits. Or the cast, what do you call them? Don't even have a damn name for them. The Dalits. Nobody wants to be the Slavs. Oh my God. I'll be afraid of them. I'd be afraid of these people. So you know damn well that if you had the information and you had the humility and the will and the common and the intelligence and the common sense to get yourself off of this before these colonists come, and they smart enough to do what they did, and they've been doing it for 200,000 years, and people don't even realize it, and the earth is 3 billion years old. Well, by the time you get to 2,000 years ago, or 3,000 years ago, you would have said, we got to get the fuck out of here. Let's cover our tracks so that they don't come looking for us in a million years. Common sense. So it doesn't matter where it started. Okay? It was probably them. Anyway, I said that's the only thing I can rationale I can really, that makes sense, that the timelines were crossed. There's so many of them. It's like a string. It's like a bunch of strings, a bunch of threads, all knotted, woven together, kind of like in a chaotic type of way and shit, like detangle. Remember that but everybody knows that game. That game. Well, it's not really a game. It's your purpose in life is to take the yarn. It's only certain people have this purpose in life. You got to take the yarn and detangle it. Take the knot and detangle. That's your purpose in life. Take the ball of the rubber ball made out of rubber bands. Remember that? That's your job. Or make the ball of rubber bands. Remember that job? Who had that? Who had that job? Raise your hand. That wasn't me. I didn't do that. I didn't have that one. Mine was the yarn. My job was to weave. My job was to weave and unweave and shit and things. And so I know what I'm talking about. Knew it. Oh, I think that was her name. The Kemetic weaver. But anyway, I'm just telling people who I am and stuff. I am a nobody now. I can say what I want to say. That's the only rationale I can think of. And he's looking for the information because people are that ignorant. I feel terrible. That means that I failed. That means, it's to blame the women. That's what they say. Sorry. I'm real very is. But let him do it. Nobody's stopping him. Nobody's telling him, stop, Dane. Nobody telling him to stop. So just let him, I don't know what else to say. Nobody's telling them to stop. That means that people are not already privy to this knowledge, or they do not have the capacity to teach their next generation. So they need him to do what he's doing, which means that he's doing he's doing the right thing. That means it's that. And the second one clearly is the issue. We don't have the capacity to teach our children this stuff. That's why most of our kids are in public school. That's why when I was a freshman in college, they started us out with the book Lies My Teacher Told Me. And it was, that was the book that everybody was required reading throughout the entire university of 30,000 students. That means all the daggone teachers that came out of this college. That's not just one. That's significant enough. That's pretty significant. All of the different colleges inside the university, it was required for reading. Okay, so clearly, that's what this is about. And I'm gonna have to stop this video and not make it an hour and 15 minutes like I did yesterday. But clearly, this is what's going on. And I remember being there and doing the same duty. I was the shadow. Because I'm not a man. You see, I'm not a man, right? I'm a woman, right? I was the shadow of him, or I was the shadow of myself. I was the Nation of Islam. Minister Farrakhan has revealed to us. Minister Farrakhan teaches that the woman is the second self of God. It's kind of like another way of saying that the womb, the womb, the woman is where God came from. So pretty much the same thing. Pretty much. The second self. Almost like the shadow, but not the shadow, but the shell of God. Right? It's really, really cool stuff. Like the Russian thing, where it's a person is usually a woman or a girl or whatever, and she's shaped like an egg, and then they paint her on and everything, and then and she's shaped like an egg, but she has arms that come out of and when you open it, there's a smaller one of her inside, and when you open it, there's a smaller one of her inside, and when you open it all the way to the little girl, to the little itty bitty one or whatever. I've never seen a male version of that. I only seen a female version of that type of thing. And so that's all I have to say about that. That Jekyll Island. How we is gonna forgive the Jekyll Island? I think a lot of y'all gonna have to address these insane asylums. Cause there was a movie called Stop terrorizing the people from the islands. Those people over there on the Pacific Islands, they need to leave these people alone. The Marshall Islands, they're just horrible what they do to the people of the islands. It's so bad. You would never want to be from an island. You would never. Because the Americans are so much worse than the previous monarchies that came before the America. What they do to the Marshall Island people, islanders. Go look it up. Look, go do your history on Hawaii. They did a good job. I'm proud of the Hawaiians. You know what I'm saying? If it wasn't for their Pleiadian ancestors, they stick to their guns, man. I hope it wasn't in vain. I hope it wasn't in vain, Hawaii. I hope it wasn't in vain. The other people too, the Easter Islanders, I don't know what happened to y'all, man. But let me move back to my story. That movie called Shutter Island. Hold on for a second. I'm going to go pause yourself. I'm going to go look this up. Shutter Island with the guy from Titanic, 2010. But it was a movie that, took place, the plot of the story took place 100 years ago type of thing, 80 years ago, whatever. And that's the nice version of life, because if you're talking about a daggone crazy, insane asylum, like Gotham Insane Asylum, and it was only about 100 years ago. That's saying shit compared to what they were doing to people in these insane asylums or in these prisons 200, 300 years ago. So that's a nice story. But that goddamn Jekyll Island, how are we going to forgive them? And I'm just going to say it, Jamaica, how are we going to forgive? It's the same thing with that place. It's the same thing. We can't overcome it. It's like the poison pill. Anyway, back to the continental matters. Back to continental matters. That house that he was looking for in one of those videos, I will accept it. The theory that he's working with, because a hypothesis is just a hypothesis. Usually, if you want to find out information, you would use a hypothesis that isn't true. Because there's always conspiracies all over the place. So you would have to do the opposite and then work backwards. You would have to invert and then work backwards. You got to do a lot of mathematical, concepts. Apply a lot of mathematical concepts to find the information that they erased. Literally erased. And whatever's left over that they didn't burn, erase, or destroy. Because these documents, they keep these documents. I wonder why they keep the documents. But they keep them. They gotta keep them. They will go crazy. See, the world, the way the mind works. If you erase them documents, you would go, your line, your bloodline, you would go, you cannot erase that. You can't destroy, you can't burn it. You gotta keep the books very thoroughly, keep the books thorough. And okay? And you don't erase. Now, the ones that did erase the history and they either no longer here because they didn't want to stay after what they did, or after what they after how they tried to be this, either whatever side they was good or bad. Maybe they didn't want to stay. Or, that's what the whole white thing is about, if you're white or non-white. Some people, some of these motherfuckers, devious, the bad, some of these motherfuckers, it doesn't matter. It don't matter. Some of these motherfuckers, they did theirs. They did their time as rulers and masters and shit, slave, whatever type of masters they were, whatever they was. And they erased their tracks, and then they became white. Bleach your skin, moved to the north, terrorized the slave class, terrorized the South. What do you think was going on in the north? I'm not on the north side. I'm not on the north side. I'm not. You know probably why I'm not on your side? Because you motherfuckers won, and it's strange how you won. And then, after you win, you keep you keep that shit a secret. After you fucking won, you keep that shit a secret. You suppress that. You keep on burning down Robert E. Lee. Now I understand why he was a loser. Because it is true that the Lees are associated with the Chinese. It is true. I heard somebody say it on YouTube. It is. The whites that get Lee. My goodness. That's an older, what do you call that? Exploration, older conquest, older expedition. They made it to North America, of course, via the Pacific Ocean. The Chinese, they came 1,000 years ago. And the Chinese built the railroads, and somebody enslaved them. Somebody enslaved the Chinese also. But they built the railroads. They were also Jews. The ones with the Shaka Amos hairstyle. But of course it was straight hair. With the long braid ponytail thing. Them motherfuckers were Jews. Chinese Jews. See, we take people in our community for a reason. And for whatever reason, so many black people and New Yorkers, they really was digging Donald Trump back in the day. They liked him. So there's clearly something going on there, and it's clearly different sides, and not just different colors, but different sides. And back to the story of Calloway, he's not a northerner. You see, Calloway is not a northerner. We want to rip the clothes off of the North, and they keep on covering themselves up. I mean, I want to rip the clothes off of the North. I don't like it. The same way people want to rip the clothes off of the South. Now we know already about the Southern Belles anyway. It's spoils of war, spoils of slavery. Spoils of slavery. That's why everybody wants to kiss the Southern Belle's ass. If she's the right race, if she's the right color, if she's the right race, if she's the wrong race, they're not gonna kiss your ass. You're just gonna be a Southern Belle. Yeah, so pretty much that's what that is. That's why he couldn't find the goddamn house. Because look how easy it is to just switch the deeds, switch the numbers, fudge the address, the streets. They're village towns from 200 years ago that obviously what they did was they moved the towns. And then if you talking about research you did 5 years ago, 2 years ago, 10 years ago, the levee towns that the federal government funded and subsidized, basically built, and the Pleasantvilles obviously would replace the tracks of something, or I don't know how to explain what I'm trying to say, but replace some would be something else. It would be covered. It would be, you understand? And I don't know where the Pleasantvilles and the levee towns are, but I know the levee towns is in the north. The Pleasantvilles, I'm sure, is in the Midwest and just scattered around the country, in certain parts of the country or whatever. But the levee towns, go do your research on the levee towns, because they had to address the sin of slavery, obviously, in an economics fashion. The household is an economic center, economic center point, economic factory, whatever you want to call it. It is what it is. In North America, now in the Caribbean, in an island in the Caribbean, the fucking plantations, I mean, it's smaller, right? It's smaller. The castles, because there's not, I mean, there are castles in North America, but the castles over there, I've never been to the Caribbean. I don't really, the Cuba trips, I just don't consider them, I don't count it. Are there castles on the island of Cuba? Would there be castles on the island of Cuba? Now them other ones got some. If they still up. If they're still up. Right? Because what they did was, of course, this is history here. They took a lot of the castles around the world and turned them into crazy house, insane asylums, prisons. Because what is a prison besides the mind? You can call it whatever you want to call it. Insane asylum, prison, whatever. Right? Castles have dungeons, and we know what they did with women when they went crazy. For whatever reason, they threw them in the basement. They locked them in the dungeon. It happened to many men's wives. And they never saw the women again. They just stayed in the dungeon. That's history. So that's it. That's all I have to say. That house that he was looking for in Virginia, I forgot whose house and what the thing was about and everything. But it's one of his videos, and you should just go look for it and go find it and go watch it. I think he did it this year. I watched it this year. I know that. So, this is 2021. So that right there was sold. So, the hypothesis being true is irrelevant. It is for the sake of the information. It is for the sake of the information. Okay. And I did mess that. It is for the sake of the information. She clearly was a real person, Harriet Tubman, and whatever else that he said about her, it doesn't matter because they're all true. She was an agent, all of that shit, everything. It's all true. That would mean that was her purpose for being born. That's how this shit turned out. That's how reality turned out. That was her purpose, to be the Moses of her people. And they try to take that title away from her and give it to freaking Marcus Garvey. Marcus Garvey is not from North America. Harriet Tubman was the Moses of her people. Now, Marcus Garvey, if this motherfucker is Moses, we should kill it. We should kill him. Why are you sending your people to North America, Marcus? What the fuck are you sending your people here for? If you want to believe that Menelik is the Messiah, why did you send them here? You are not the Moses. Because somehow your movement is associated with the murder of a Ghanaian princess. And I don't feel like going and looking up her name because it's going to take a while to go find her name. So once again, you build on top of dead of somebody else's bloodline. For what? Because you was looking for what? You were looking for a trail. And you found your Akan trail now, didn't you? Right? I ain't gonna forgive this shit because I'm from North America. I'm not from the islands. My grandparents were from 3 different islands. But I am from North America. And I don't like this shit. But that's what he had to do. He's the whirlwind. That's he was born for a reason. Is the whirlwind. Don't you stop it again because we had a purpose for it. See? I used to be a hurricane my damn self. So look, I'm done with this video, okay? That's why they name hurricanes. Hurricane Andrew, Hurricane El Nino. El Nina is just a what do you call that? A weather pattern that you can't erase off of the face of the earth. It's there. It's happens it's always there. El Nino is always there. I don't know what El Nino is. I think it was a hurricane. But El Nino is some sort of like weather pattern going across the ocean. Something. Or whatever. It don't go nowhere. Just like on Saturn. Saturn got a octagon or a hexagon at its tip. It's a storm. It's there. It's part of the planet. So that was his purpose. He was the world. He was that. He sure was. And something didn't go right. Something didn't go right. And I'm still mad that Malcolm died in North America. He should have died in another continent. Or at least went underground and moved to another continent, moved to Africa until the threat of the threat of his murder was gone. He should have outlived Du Bois. Why is it that Du Bois was able to figure out, I want to die in an African country and convert to another economic system 10 years after Malcolm dies? Because they're all fighting. And the ones that survive, they got to figure out, they got to end their life. They got to figure out what's the end of their life going to be. I'm mad about that Malcolm thing. I wonder who's equally as mad about the Martin thing. I can't really address that. Because at least Martin Luther King Jr. made his crossover. He crossed over. And he completely crossed over. Now, Malcolm's crossing was a different a different class, and he completely crossed over as well, but people don't respect the hoodlum. People don't respect the hoodlum, and then you wonder why for the past 70 years, 50 years, the hood has been running running the game, running the show, running the show for some of us, because nobody respected them. I mean, how many times do we have to go through this with Bumpy Johnson? And I mean, goddamn, a whole 100 years of this. So, you know, that's it. You know what I'm saying? I wonder who is equally mad about the Martin Luther King thing. I'm not equally mad about the Martin Luther King thing. I'm mad about the Malcolm thing. I just wish he wouldn't have died in North America. I damn sure wish he wouldn't have died in my hometown, in my city of New York, where I was born. He's not from New York City, but he was slaughtered there. Everybody comes to New York. Jeez, what did I do? I made a mistake. If I'm responsible for being a soul that was born in New York, I made a huge mistake. So, because everybody comes to the same damn neighborhood, the Harlem. Everybody comes to the same place, or came in the past generation. They all went to the same place because that was the Mecca of the East Coast. So, you know, he actually died there. I just so mad. I'm just torn up about that shit. Because Minister Farrakhan didn't die. Interestingly enough, he's from the Bronx. It's crazy. You know what I mean? And go, Dr. Shiva, go. Let's go, Shiva. Speaking of Malcolm territory, not Malcolm country, but Malcolm territory. I don't know how to say. Speaking of his young adults life. Let's go, Shiva. We see what we got to do to rejuvenate what fell. How do you say that? To address the past, to do that. Let's go, Shiva. We don't need you to win. We know that he's not going to become governor of Massachusetts. We know that already. That's not the point. You know what I'm saying? The white people talking about how they saving rabbits on Instagram. Or was that YouTube? I think that was on Instagram. The white people talking about they say. See, I guess he doesn't know American culture about the rabbit. He's not American. He's Caribbean American. So I guess he doesn't know about the rabbit. But what difference does it make? Okay. Oh my God. What difference does it make? Oh my God. 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 I gotta get mad. I gotta get mad. It doesn't matter. We clearly don't know how to use a gun. I haven't met. I don't want to meet. Oh boy. We clearly don't know how to use a gun. But there's different types of guns. There's different types of guns. Right. Well, I'm done. I'm going to look for the video. And I think when I upload it to YouTube, which I really am going to... I hate YouTube. I can't stand it. I'm going to think about putting the video in the description. The link of the video, the Dan Calloway video I'm talking about with the house he was looking for and stuff. So that's that. Okay? And some people come to mind. His name, he wrote a booklet in the 1700s called, don't remember the name of the daggone book. The Appeal. I forgot his name. Something Walker. From New York. I'm sure. Okay, look, I gotta go. This is Stargate. They're using it. I think what happened is they took the one from Iraq and started using it. Why wouldn't they? It was probably loaned to them at first, and then something happened, and that's why the man was killed, found in a ditch like that, like his ancestor, and then they put him on trial, and they killed him. And then, of course, North America has their own Stargates, and then South America have their own Stargates. And so, that Stargate